still lost!
Hello. I'm on my way down to the great ocean dock to start the tugboats. So I've got to look shipshape myself. But my gloves. I need my gloves. Where do I put them? No. Gloves here. Gloves. Oh. Well, there's one glove anyway. Where did I put the other one? Here. Glove. Glove, no. Ha-ha. There you are. It was hiding in my boot. Pretty strange place for a glove, isn't it? Now, you know, one of these days, I've got to get things shipshape around here. Where's the other glove? The one that I had in the first place? Oh, this is getting silly. I mean, now it's lost. Now I know how Theodore felt when he was lost. And that's a very good story for today. Early one morning, Theodore and Pearl, the pilot boat, were heading out to the edge of the ocean to meet a small cargo ship. Nice wide turn around Bedford, Theodore, called Pearl as they sailed past the little bellboy who lived at the entrance to the big harbor. Theodore tooted goodbye to Bedford. 2 toots are enough, Theodore, said Pearl. You see, today, Theodore was extra excited about his job. Theodore usually went out to meet ships with the other tugboats like Emily or George. But today, he was going out to bring in a ship all by himself. Leaving the harbor with Pearl made Theodore feel like one of the bigger tugs. And that felt great. Theodore and Pearl turned to follow the coast out towards the ocean where the cargo ship would soon be arriving. There's Digby, called Theodore, spotting the small cable ship laying his cable along the shore. Well, all my stars and little oysters, shouted Digby. If it isn't Theodore Tugboat. Hi, gracious. Now mind the morning fog there, she's coming in fast and furry. Will we be able to see? Theodore asked Pearl. I know this ocean like the back of my bumpers, answered Pearl. Digby is just a cable ship. There's no time to talk now. We have to get that cargo ship in on time. She's loaded with kumquats. No time to talk now, Theodore called Digby just like Pearl. We've got kumquats coming in. Pearl, what are kumquats? They're, began Pearl, who really had no idea. Very important. Just call if you get stuck again, Digby, she added. Yes, echoed Theodore. Just call us if you get stuck, Digby. Theodore smiled. It seemed like the little cable ship was always getting stuck somewhere. 2 toots will do, Theodore, said Pearl. It wasn't long before that morning fog covered everything but the tops of Theodore and Pearl's masts. Theodore wasn't sure where he was. He wasn't worried, not with Pearl beside him. But just then, he heard a kind of groany horn sound. That must be Lunenburg, said Theodore. Lunenburg was a small lighthouse who lived near Shipwreck Rock. Theodore turned to try and see Lunenburg through the fog. When he turned back to Pearl again, she was gone. Theodore looked this way and that, but he couldn't see past his own deck in all that strange fog. Pearl, he called. Are you there? At the same moment, Pearl was turning toward the ocean to meet the cargo ship. Hurry up, Theodore, she called. Theodore? Pearl slowed to wait for Theodore to catch up. Where was he? Pearl, called Theodore, a little louder this time. He tooted. But the closer he got to Lunenburg, the louder Lunenburg's foghorn got. Lunenburg, said Theodore. I'm trying to call Pearl, but I don't think she can hear me. That's because I'm blowing my foghorn, bellowed Lunenburg. What was that? didn't sound like Pearl. It was Digby. Digby, shouted Theodore. Have you seen Pearl? Yep, Digby shouted right back. She was with you. Well, we got separated, Theodore explained. And now, I can't find her. Well, if I was you, Theodore, said Digby, I would stay put right here beside me and let her find you. Well, Theodore thought about what Digby said, but then he thought, oh, Digby is just a cable ship. I think I better go find her, he announced, and he set off again. Pearl decided to look for Theodore in the last place she'd seen him, Shipwreck Rock. But it just so happened, Theodore was looking for Pearl. The fog was so thick, those two passed right by without seeing each other. Lunenburg, called Pearl. Have you seen Theodore? Yes, shouted Lunenburg. Where is he? Asked Pearl. He was with you, replied Lunenburg. Pearl looked around, but there was nothing to see out there. Pearl decided to wait for Theodore in case he came back. Where could he be? She said to herself. We've got to get that ship in on time. Well, as a matter of fact, the ship was arriving at Blandford, the bellbuoy who marks the spot where the harbor ends and the ocean begins. The ship's name was Emma Sophia, and she was wondering where Theodore was too. Where could my tugboat be? She said out loud. I've got to get my kumquats unloaded. Kumquats, repeated Blandford. Very important. What exactly are kumquats? No idea, replied Emma Sophia, scanning the soupy seas for Theodore. But I've got to get them in. Pearl waited and waited for Theodore by Shipwreck Rock, but there was still no sign of him. She decided she'd better go and look for him. Oh, something must be wrong, she told herself. And as a matter of fact, something was wrong. Very, very wrong. Only Theodore didn't realize it yet. But he was about to. You see, Theodore had drifted into a watery mountain range. Dangerous rocks poking through the water near the coast. Carved into pointy peaks by the wind and the waves. The Pictou Peaks. But all Theodore knew was that whichever way he tried to turn, one of those peaks seemed to be right in his way. And he couldn't get out. And he knew something else. He knew he was lost. Pearl knew that it was time to go and tell the dispatcher that Theodore was now officially missing. Theodore was beginning to get dizzy, turning this way and that in the Pictou Peaks, looking for a way out. Then, Theodore bumped up against a very odd peak. It felt funny, kind of rubbery, like a bumper. Are you coming or going? The peak was talking to him. It was Digby, busy laying his cable. Digby, cried Theodore. Am I ever glad I found you? Why, Theodore, said Digby. Am I lost? No, replied Theodore. Do you know where I am? Theodore, Digby said slowly. I believe you're floating here, right in front of me. Digby, continued Theodore, where are we? Answered Digby. Still here, I would venture to guess. Digby. Theodore explained as patiently as he could that he was lost and needed to find Pearl. Well, replied Digby, she could find you soon enough, I reckon, if you stayed put right here beside me. Stayed put, repeated Theodore as he floated alongside Digby. Yes, Theodore, continued Digby. I told you to stay put beside me here at Shipwreck Rock, and Pearl would be sure to find you where you was lost at, and... That's when Digby realized something. Well, flibberty-gibbet, Theodore. I am moving. Sure enough, as he talked, Digby was floating along the shore, laying his cable. and Theodore was floating right along beside him.
Theodore,
He sputtered.
what in the name of Sam Slick are you doing way out here with me, boy? Pearl will never find you now.
Oh, it's hopeless, groaned Theodore. I'm lost.
Well, I don't think where I'm going either,
Said Digby thoughtfully.
but I sure knows where I been.
Theodore could see Digby's cable beginning to stretch out behind him in the fog from the direction he came.
Maybe you shouldn't have listened to me in the first place, Theodore,
Said Digby sadly. The first place, repeated Theodore, staring at Digby's cable. Suddenly, he had an idea. A wonderful idea. Maybe, he began, if I went back to the first place I got lost, Pearl will find me.
Oh, superior idea, Theodore.
Smiled Digby.
Superior. I say, Theodore, wasn't that my idea?
Digby, smiled Theodore. I should have listened to you in the first place.
You mean Shipwreck Rock?
Said Digby. Right, shouted Theodore. The first place I got lost. Shipwreck Rock. Oh, thanks, Digby. Theodore raced off, following Digby's cable back the way he came.
Now, where was I?
Said Digby.
Oh, yes, right here.
Now, Pearl knew that telling the dispatcher Theodore was officially missing meant all the tugs would have to go out looking for him. So before she headed back to the Great Ocean dock, she decided to try one last time to try and find Theodore. And she started at Shipwreck Rock. Pearl saw a shape coming through the fog that almost bumped into her. And to her great relief, it was Theodore. Theodore, said Pearl, where have you been? I've been looking everywhere for you. Well, I was looking for you, replied Theodore. I should have stayed right here in the first place, he added. Well, the important thing is you're safe, said Pearl. Now, we've got a ship to get in. The two set off again for the ocean, and this time, Theodore didn't waste a beat of his engine following alongside Pearl. Soon, the two arrived all out of breath at Blandford Buoy. They were very happy indeed to see that Emma Sophia was still there waiting for them. Well, I was getting worried you'd forgotten about me, she said. It's a good thing you stayed put right here, smiled Theodore, or we never would have found you in all this fog. Theodore tooted happily and set off for the big harbor. 2 toots are enough, said Pearl, but this time with a big smile on her voice.
My glove is still lost. Maybe if I keep this glove in one place, I'll be able to find the other ones. So you just stay put right there, and I'll go look for your friend. Glove, 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 glove. All right, where are you? Ah, there you are. Ah, 2 hands, 2 gloves. Terrific. Thanks for a great idea, Theodore. You too, Digby. And thank you for visiting us here in the big harbor. And we'll see you all again next time. Now, I can go and inspect the tugboats. Hat, 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 hat.
Theodore, he's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore and Emily, Bodak, Hank and George and the harbor master too.